They thought I wouldn't notice. She probably whispered to our neighbor. We're free. But I was watching. My security camera caught every furtive glance. Every lingering touch. Now. She's beaming. A strange secret happiness. And I know exactly why. The question isn't if anymore. It's what happens next. Man. I'm sitting here. Trying to type this out. And it feels a little pathetic. Honestly. Like I'm just airing out my laundry on the internet. But I gotta get it out. Because my head is just spinning with stuff. And I don't know if I'm losing it or if something's actually up. It all started a few months back. This young guy, probably in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, moved into the house right next door. Honestly, I didn't even notice at first. My schedule's pretty demanding, and I'm usually not home much during the day. But then, a few weeks in, I started seeing him. He'd be out on his morning dog walks. Sometimes in the evenings too. And that's when I'd see him talking to my wife. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Seriously. Not a single red flag. My wife. She's 32. She's friendly. Social. Why wouldn't she chat with the new neighbor? It's just what people do. Right. You say hello. Talk about the weather. Dogs. Whatever. I actually remember one time. I was leaving for work and saw them wrapping up a chat by the mailbox. She gave a little wave. He nodded. And I just went on with my day. Just two people being neighborly? That's what I told myself. At least. But then, little things started to pile up. Little crumbs that just didn't sit right. One afternoon, my wife was telling me about her day. Just casual stuff. And she mentioned the neighbor. Oh. Guess who I saw at the gym today, she said. Totally offhand. I waited. And she goes. Our new neighbor. He just joined. I remember I just nodded and smiled. But inside, my brain hit a tiny speed bump. We live in a pretty big suburb. There are like 5 different gyms within a 10-minute drive from our house. And he chose her gym. The one she's been going to for years. I tried to shake it off. Maybe it was the closest to his work. Or maybe he just liked the equipment. I told myself it was just a coincidence. Nothing to worry about. But that thought, of all the gyms, it kinda just stuck in the back of my mind. A little splinter. Then there's his attire. This guy. He's what you'd imagine a gym fanatic to be sculpted. Fit. The whole deal. Which, whatever. Good for him. But since they live right next door, I've caught glimpses of him a few times. Especially in his own garden. He'll be out there. Watering plants or something. Wearing just a pair of short gym shorts. Or sometimes even just a tank top and his underwear. He's obviously super comfortable in his own skin. Which, again, fine. But it felt a bit exposed. Or maybe I'm just old-fashioned. He just seemed to hang out in those super short, tight gym clothes a lot. My initial thought was just, wow, he's really casual. But then the other thought crept in. Was he trying to be seen like that? Especially knowing my wife was often home during the day. Maybe on the patio or looking out the window. My goal, honestly, has been to just tell myself I'm being stupid. That I'm just paranoid and insecure. My wife is great. Our marriage is good. These are just normal interactions. Normal human beings living their lives. But these little things, the gym, the clothes, the frequency of their neighborly chats, they've been accumulating. Creating this tiny, irritating buzz in my head. It's not enough for me to really do anything. But it's enough to make me feel like I'm constantly looking for things. Constantly trying to rationalize away this nagging feeling that something is off. It's this weird battle between wanting to trust my wife completely and this gut feeling that's getting harder and harder to ignore. I don't know if I'm just making something out of nothing here. Maybe I'm just insecure. Has anyone else ever felt this way about little things adding up? What do you do when your brain is screaming paranoid, but your gut is saying pay attention? I really don't know how to handle this quiet uneasiness. So, a few days after all those little things started gnawing at me, the gym, his clothes, the frequent chats, I had to leave town. Family stuff. You know how it is. Nothing major. Just an obligation. But I left with my head absolutely buzzing. Every single one of those tiny interactions. Every casual glance. It all felt magnified. I was already in that headspace where every small detail seemed like a potential clue. I was gone for about a week. And yeah, I'll admit it. It was totally exaggerated on my part. But while I was away, I found myself pulling up the feed from our security camera. The one that points at the front of the house, covers the driveway and part of the sidewalk. I told myself I was just checking on the house, making sure nothing had happened. Maybe hoping to prove to myself that I was just being a paranoid idiot. I figured I'd scrub through it. See absolutely nothing. And then finally get some peace of mind. I spent hours watching those recordings. Probably more time than I should have. Most of it was just boring. My wife leaving for work. Coming back. The mailman. Kids on bikes. Our neighbor doing his routine. Walking his dog in the mornings. Sometimes in the evenings. And yeah. He stopped to talk to my wife a couple of times. Just like before. It looked totally normal. Casual conversation by the front yard. A friendly wave. Then they'd both go their separate ways. For a while. I was actually starting to relax. See, I thought. Nothing to worry about. Just being friendly. Then it happened. It was one of those morning interactions. My wife was getting into her car. Probably heading out for errands. She had just finished talking to him. She turned her back to him to open her car door. Her body angled away as she reached for the handle. And that's when it played out. Clear as day on the screen. The neighbor, standing there, didn't immediately turn away. He looked down. His eyes, for a solid second or two, were fixed directly in the direction of my wife's ass. It wasn't a fleeting glance. It was a definite, deliberate look. His head tilted just slightly. My gut just twisted into a knot right there. It wasn't a look of "oh, I'm saying goodbye." It was the kind of look you give something you're assessing. Something you want. After that, he just mumbled something. She got in her car. And that was it. They said their goodbyes. And he continued on his walk. My brain was trying to process it. He looked down. He stared. At her ass. It felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't innocent. It wasn't neighborly. It was predatory. Or at least, deeply inappropriate. And suddenly, all those little things from before the gym. The casual clothes. The frequent talks, they all clicked into place. Not as paranoia. But as pieces of a much uglier picture. This wasn't just me overthinking. This was an observable fact. Something I couldn't unsee. My initial goal of finding logical reassurance completely backfired. Instead, I found a clear, undeniable action that just confirmed my absolute worst fear. I got back home a day or two later. My wife was there. Of course, everything seemed normal on the surface. But almost immediately, I noticed something else. She seemed happier. Not just regular happy, but strangely happier. Almost giddy. She was humming more. Had this extra bounce in her step. A brighter tone in her voice. It wasn't a huge, dramatic change. But it was enough that I picked up on it. And with that image of him staring at her ass burned into my mind. This new happiness of hers felt less like contentment and more like a secret. Like something good had happened to her while I was away. Something she wasn't sharing. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. This change, combined with what I saw on the camera, was terrifying. It wasn't just a coincidence anymore. It was starting to feel like cause and effect. So here I am. I've seen this guy look at my wife in a way that's completely out of line for a neighbor. And now she's radiating this new, unfamiliar happiness. My logical explanation for my unease has blown up in my face. Now I'm stuck with something far worse. Undeniable suspicion. My dilemma is huge. Do I confront her about a look captured on a security camera? Do I mention her newfound, strange happiness? Or do I try to bury all this, knowing it will eat me alive? I feel like I'm holding a grenade. And I don't know whether pulling the pin will solve anything or just blow up my entire life. What do you even do with something like this? I'm back home now. My wife is here. And everything feels completely different. Even though it's all exactly the same on the surface. My mind is just a battlefield. Every single interaction I had dismissed as normal. Every little detail I tried to rationalize away. They're all screaming at me now. The security camera footage. That single, pointed gaze, has retroactively tainted everything. It's like a key that unlocked a door to a room I didn't want to know existed. I keep replaying it all. The easy chats by the mailbox. The way she mentioned him joining her gym. That little detail I just brushed off as coincidence. I see him in my mind, walking around his garden in those ridiculously tight, barely, their clothes. completely unconcerned about who might see him. Was it always intentional? Was he always trying to get her attention? Before, I thought he was just a casual guy. Now, I see it as a deliberate display. My brain is relentlessly connecting these dots, forming a picture I absolutely dread. And the worst part? My wife's new happiness. She really does seem brighter. Lighter. It's not a subtle thing. And it's not the normal, comforting happiness of a content wife. It's got an edge to it. Almost a nervous energy. Like someone trying to contain a secret joy. When I first noticed it, I wanted to believe it was because I was home. Or because some small stress had lifted. But the image of him staring at her ass on that footage just crushes any innocent interpretation. My mind keeps looping back to the week I was away. What happened while I wasn't here? That's the question that just echoes in my skull. Did his inappropriate gaze turn into something more? Did her strange happiness bloom from some interaction that crossed the line? The thought is suffocating. I'm stuck. I look at her. And part of me wants to just scream. To demand answers. But then another part, the terrified part, clamps down. What if I'm wrong? What if this really is just me being paranoid? And I accuse her. And I shatter everything we have over a look and a feeling. The evidence I have feels damning to me. But I know how it sounds. I saw him look at your butt on the security camera. And you seem happier. It feels flimsy. Easily dismissible. Something she could laugh off or get angry about. But if I don't say anything, this feeling, this absolute dread, it's not going away. It's making me question everything she says. Everything she does. Every smile. Every casual touch. Every glance out the window, it's all filtered through this dark lens of suspicion. I feel utterly alone with this. I can't talk to friends about it. Not without sounding like a jealous lunatic or damaging her reputation. My marriage. My home. It all feels poisoned by this unspoken weight. I don't know what her goal is. If she has one. Or what choices she's making. But I know my goal is clarity. I need to understand what's real and what's in my head. And I desperately need to figure out a path forward that doesn't completely destroy my life. Or at least gives me peace. One way or another. So, Reddit. I'm at a complete crossroads. I'm afraid of what I might find if I dig deeper. And I'm equally afraid of what will happen to me if I don't. How do you even begin to approach a situation like this? Do I confront her with what I saw? Do I try to gather more evidence? Or do I try to just let it go and try to move on? Even though I know it will eat me alive. Please. I need some perspective here.